Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are Podcast Network. This is We Are Air Season 1, Episode 23, Comedy Clubs. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, thank you so much. Please go to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. We're at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at / We Are Podcast. With that said, on to the podcast.
We are rarer.
Hey, Cleo wants to know how you're feeling about your money this week.
I like my money this week. I'm Oprah rich.
Call me right now! Come see me us!
Listen, I have the fattest of asses.
True sidekick like me, you can see my ass right now, sugar.
That's the 1-900.
Me and Ben once went into our Wikipedia and changed a bunch of shit in the Wikipedia. Within 5 minutes, they caught us, but I'll be damned for 5 minutes if she wasn't a lesbian from, like, Tennessee. It was great. We were just like...
Really stuck it to the man there, David. You fucking got that dumb cunt. Welcome, everyone, to the We Are Error podcast. I am your host, William.
Yeah, go for
With
it.
me, as always, is...
Javi!
Jake.
And this is Duck. Good,
That's all
well,
I got.
I liked it. It's good. I was fine with it. All right, everybody.
Oysters! Hey, can you hand me my sweet tea without you fucking dropping it?
And I drop it.
Good one,
I pulled a hobby.
Fuck Duck's carpet.
I really hobbied that up.
Come on, let's...
Wait, I got my own name now?
Dude, it is called pulling
Pull
a
the
hobby.
hobby.
Dude, that's a thing. You know that, right?
I'm not... I wouldn't put it past Will to actually make that stick. He made fucking All-Star stick. I remember when he first did it, I was like...
Slow
"It is."
down. Was that any in that English? I'm sorry.
All of that English, that was
He's
easy for me
speaking
to say.
Mandarin.
He's speaking Black Like a Klansman is what he's speaking.
First of all, I wouldn't be surprised if Will actually made that stuck. This fucker made All-Star stick.
Made that
When he
stuff.
first did it, I was like, there's no fucking way he's going to
Dude,
stick
you
it.
know we've been calling it pulling a hobby all this time,
stuck.
right?
Oh, I still
And it got stuck.
Dude, no, it's been called that since hobby existed. It's pulling a hobby.
Yeah.
It's fun.
My life.
Is this where you go deep into an existential crisis?
Pride.
It's like everything fades away and it's just Javi's brain.
My
All I was here for.
My
All I
life.
was here to put on this earth to do.
Yeah, it was good.
Is this my purpose?
Yeah, it is. Are you having a monologue? What the fuck is going on?
My life has gone gray and listless.
The more you know.
And then the little Jake bubble pops in and goes, easy for you to say. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk...
This episode's about starting over.
Yeah, this episode's about starting your life over, about having inner monologues with Javi, who's eating a burger right now.
I'm
I'm not
all
sure
out
what's
of
going on.
sandwich, actually.
No,
I was just looking to see if I refilled
You
it.
just double checked if the sandwich
Yeah,
reappears.
I already ate that.
What's with the look, Duck?
I'm just trying to get it back on
You
track.
never
I'm
seen a
sorry.
man double check a sandwich?
And then they ask you if you're okay, but you're not really okay. But you have to smile and tell them that everything's okay.
Dude, you look...
okay.
You literally look like
Hopefully
right
nobody
now...
knows it's full of whiskey.
Literally, you look like you're at work right now, just chilling at a desk. Kind of like, I've got the news for tonight. Don't
Goddamn
worry.
TBS reports are going to be late, Karen.
God damn.
I don't have time for this bullshit. You don't know what I go through at home. And Homie just says the same shit. Leave me alone, Mom. You don't know what I go through at work.
Get out of your basement.
Javi's on the drink again.
Which is a good thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk about something that's really near and dear to us. As you can tell, we're having a good time here. I want to kind of talk about the whatever. Sometimes we focus on movie news, the Oscars, but let's talk about whatever today. And today, the whatever is going to be about comedy and laughter and having a good time. And I want to kind of talk about our history. Everyone here has worked in a comedy club.
I've already got one loaded in the chamber that happened last night. This one's
Okay, well, let's start with that. Let's start with a story that happened at your comedy club there, Jimmy.
last night. Darren Brandon and Desi Banks were at the club. They're both on Nick Cannon's Wild and Out. And it was a sold-out show. And a lot of people have not been to our club, so we get a lot of phone calls asking where we're located. We're inside of a shopping center, like most comedy clubs nowadays, and little fucking outside malls. So we're on the second floor, right around the corner from the Angelica. I get a phone call. Yeah, I'm trying to find you right now. Where are you at? Okay. So if you're inside Mockingbird Station, we're on the second floor, right around the corner from the Angelica, right across from the Dart Station. Okay. All right. How do you get to the second floor? Well,
Stairs.
ma'am, you can either use the stairs or the elevators. Well, no shit, motherfucker. I'm asking what you buy. You fucking
Really? So that's
Yes, I
great.
swear to God, dude. Like, I'm like,
I would have been like, hey, look, I'll be right outside. I'm going to find you.
Like the flip? Was that severe?
Yes, it was. It was like, you asked the fucking question, like, how do you get to the second floor? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to fucking say? Like, I was set up for fucking failure right
I
there.
mean, some people
I-
levitate. It's up to you.
Yeah, what are you, Chris Angel? Yeah, you
Just
fucking
mind freak your way up there.
Dynamo? Come on, get up here.
All right, well, let's start with that. How about calls? How about you, Will? What's the weirdest call you've ever got? All right, go ahead, Alvy. As a person who answered the phone a bunch, what was the
I
weirdest
remember when I
call?
first started, I think told me about the crackhead that would sometimes call up there.
Wait, what? There was a crackhead?
There was like a crackhead that was
habitual crackhead that called off.
Like,
I know that.
like
That's
an
sweet.
actual
Yeah,
crackhead
I've
that
never
would call
talked
like
to him.
once a week, but I just got my block 10 license, maybe I can come up there. My name is 817. Like, his name was his fucking phone number. And he was speaking that low, gravelly voice. He's like, I'm gonna come up there. Okay, I'll be there. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I just got my bartending license. I can sling drinks. I'm the best bartender you're gonna hire. Please hire me. I want to come up and just test me out for a night. And they would just hang up.
What?
It was just like that.
Was it a prank call?
No.
Or was it a legit person?
This was a legit
He
crazy
still
person.
calls. I've
So-
never talked to him.
So he forgets every week that he called the week before and didn't get the
I
job?
think he just jerks off.
Maybe, oh yeah.
It's like whoever
Maybe
answers.
that's how he gets his jolly strike by weird things.
Oh, God, I can sling those drinks so good.
Yeah.
I'm slinging yogurt now.
Well, okay, so as people enjoy comedy, we do work in comedy clubs. Who was the first comedian who inspired you guys when you were kids? Who was the first person that you saw that you went, shit, I really like this, and this is speaking to me in a way?
For me, Rodney Dangerfield, and then I remember watching the old Brian Regan special on Showtime whenever he had the mullet and everything. I think I was probably like 11 or 12 at the time whenever that came out, and I was like, this guy is fucking hilarious.
He's killing it. Yeah. How about you, Will?
My dad used to have a lot of VHS tapes where he recorded stuff, and one of them was 3 specials. It was Robin Williams at the Met and Howie Mandel live, and just like the best of Rodney Dangerfield's club. So it was a lot of like
Bob Saget,
and the
Sam
Seinfeld and all them,
Kinison,
And Howie Mandel was the one that stuck out the most to me when I was a kid, and I was like, "Fuck, this is like these guys funny as shit." And
So did you love Bobby's World?
oh, I love Bobby's World.
Was that the
He
special
did
you
Bobby's
finished with
World.
Bobby? Yeah,
in
I saw that one.
How about you, Javi? What was the first stand-up you saw that really spoke to you?
I don't know if you would consider this a stand-up, but it was John Leguizamo's Ghetto Clown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I fucking love John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
I think it's Slash, and he's the king of
past.
the one-man
Yeah.
show. And
House
that was
of
my, and then
Crazies, was it?
Yeah.
House of Pain. What was his show?
No,
His like
House
sketch show.
of...
I think it was House of Crazies, wasn't it? Or was that
no,
that was
that's
Twisted?
Twisted. Yeah, I was gonna say,
Like the ICP?
Yeah,
Like,
that
band
was
that
Twisted.
was
like, he's in good company here.
Yeah,
like,
Twisted was the first.
the one
one.
John Leguizamo special that really got me hooked on
Joe
comedy
King.
was Freaked.
Freaked. Absolutely. I would agree with
Freaked
that.
Freaked is his swan song. That is his best special that he's ever had.
I liked his new one, but it's not as good as Freaked, which
No,
was
I love
directed
the
by
new one. I
Spike
think
Lee.
it's like right up there.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think that was in 1997, and 4 years later, I came across Robin Williams Live from Broadway. And goddamn, that is a perfect comedy
That's pretty
show
amazing.
right there.
That is a perfect
It is
amalgamation
perfect.
of cocaine.
I mean, that you want to talk about
Outback.
Robin Williams? It's just like he's
Yeah,
right
that
there.
was
He's
kinda
at
cool.
his top in that special.
Yeah, I would agree with you. John Leguizamo's Freak was big for me. Eddie Izzard, Dressed to Kill was another big one.
Yeah.
And Dana Carvey, Critics' Choice. I fucking love Critics'
Remember
Choice.
that.
It's one of my favorites.
Is that the one where he's talking about
Chopping
make a
broccoli?
tour,
Yeah,
make a tea, make a time, make a two. Every time I click,
It's $9.95 to
for
you.
you.
Amazing. I love that one.
Yeah.
I think the reason why is I like the storytelling aspect of comedy. And there's so much different comedy. There's a lot of, set up punchline comedy. There's storytelling comedy. There's non sequitur comedy. There's dark comedy. So for you guys, what do you think really speaks to you the most out of comedy?
Honestly, I can say that I like a little bit from each
From each one,
aspect. Honestly, because I do love Mitch Hedberg's just like straight one-liners.
Stephen Wright.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Bill Burr, who tells stories at the same time, makes quick little fucking jabs here and there. Like, I mean, Tony Roberts is one of my favorite comics ever. High energy, like, and he's just all over the board.
Right.
There's so many comics.
And you got to be impressed by those comics who can bring that energy every night. Because that's a lot.
And that's one
of work.
fun thing about working in that club is you'll talk to these guys and they're talking to you just like I'm talking to you, and then they get on stage and like, "What's up, motherfucker? You need your ass beat." I yelled too loud and didn't back away from the microphone listeners.
Guy Tori's like that though. He's high energy all the time.
Yeah,
He's really
there's
ready
some
to
that are
go.
all the time.
And
Until
then
he
there's
gets
other
into
comedians.
his fucking hour-long closer about, can I touch it? Can I lick it? Let me see that lip. You kiss that little parrot on our neck right there.
Well, that's another good point, though, you brought up. Comedians aren't always on. There's a lot of people who are funny on that stage because it's a character, and then there's people who are like that all the time, and there's some people who are in between. Does it ever surprise you when you come across a comedian who's not on all the time, or they're being themselves? Just
There's
figure it out.
one that surprised me, and I won't say their name.
That's fine.
But their character on stage, I was 100% convinced was them. Talked to him about his shoes, and he talked to me like a normal human being, and it
Didn't
blew
have the accent.
my fucking mind.
Like,
Didn't have the accent.
His photographer was at the window, like, and I didn't have a comp for him. He goes, "I'm with this guy." I was like, "Shit." So he calls them, and he goes, "Oh yeah, this is." I was just like,
No, it is not.
I thought it was fucking. I was like, "Yeah, he's with me." I was just like, "Oh, well, that's shattered."
What about the guy who used to write for Richard Pryor who doesn't like to shake hands?
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I got one of those canes.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about looking for it the other day because I was like, is that Pimp Cane still
I
here?
left
It's
it.
got to be something.
That's interesting, too. He tried to turn the crowd against the staff during this.
Oh,
weekend.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
terrifying.
Well, he did a special at, I forget, some place in DFW before he came through, recently. But it's just shitting on white people. And
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying his name because
He's dead.
that's his. Well,
He's not dead yet.
he's dead to me.
that's his. That's his thing.
No,
though.
no,
Like,
you're thinking of Dick
but
Gregory.
like,
but
He's
even
the only reason
still,
I don't want you guys to feel like you have to not say every name. I only didn't say that because that is very clearly a separate person.
That's fine,
But
I'm
he is
saying-
that guy,
Yeah.
and everyone knows he's
But
that guy.
he wasn't like that in the back part of the show.
Oh, I see. Oh, I didn't. I never worked with him.
But he wouldn't like shake hands. He'd just be like, "Yeah, just give me a fist bump, brother."
We're good.
He's pulling a Howie Mandel. Is what you're Howie Mandel.
Maybe he has the
His
germaphobe.
goddamn Jingo
maybe.
jeans.
Maybe.
With his little flower paintings on there. And I got my two broads here selling all my shit.
I would say Dick Gregory because he has passed. I can respect what he did and where he came from.
He was
There
super
was
nice.
there was a lot of
He
speech during his
fucked
comedy.
up our night while he was on stage.
Yeah.
But I will say he was
But-
very nice off stage. But
and
he
I-
really did
That was
fucking
a
kind
weird-
of
that
take
was
a
a weird
shit
night.
on
It was
us
a weird
that
night. And
I
you
read
know-
his book too. I bought and read his book, and it was amazing. Like when I read his book, it's called the N-word. Well, it's called the N-word. It's not called the N-word.
No. Say the full book title.
Do you need the
It's
token
called
minority?
Chigga.
The We Are Air podcast.
Do you need the token minority to say it? His
And,
book's called Nigger, right?
Yes.
Yes,
There it
thank
goes.
you,
And,
Harvey.
Wow, Javi.
When I read that book, it was so well done, and just listening to his struggle that I didn't like white people for a good month and a half.
I know what you're talking
And then I was like, "Hey, it's cool. I'm Italian."
The blacks ain't so bad, you know?
Oh, that was a different show. But
No, but seriously, the night was weird. But I like the fact that people. Same thing happened when I worked at the movie theater and Django Unchained played. There was an animosity in the room where I was like, I can't work this showroom because there's a lot of passions are heated, which is understandable.
It's fair.
It's
yeah,
a very,
fair enough, man.
it's a very complicated subject.
The white man did some wrong shit.
But at the
and
same time, and
it's
I
hard
look
to be
very
around it.
white, so I get it. You could take it out on me, but at the same time, I liked listening to him. I liked hearing what he was saying, and like I said, he has a perspective that none of us have.
Yeah.
To bring it back to the Django Unchained thing, shout out to my buddy Tim Mathis, who has a joke about going to see Django Unchained in the theater with his black girlfriend and her whole family.
All right, what's the joke?
And, well, I mean, he was telling a story about going to see the movie. And then, like, halfway through, whenever, I forget, Walton Goggins' character gets killed in it, he's like, "Yeah, kill that white motherfucker!" He's like, "I gotta go."
I love that guy.
Yeah.
That guy is so funny.
Yeah.
I feel like, though, I think it was something that needed to be heard, and I thought the crowd was very respectful, and they wanted to listen, and they didn't feel that same animosity that was felt when the previous guy was there, and he brought a lot of animosity to the point where Like, he was telling people not to sign their checks and not to give people their credit cards.
To be an extremist, one of them is kind of an MLK and the other one's kind of a Malcolm X.
Right.
Like, there's a different approach that they do things with.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's the thing is, I appreciated that I got to see him, especially before he passed away, because he passed away.
Yeah, me too.
Dick Gregory passed away 6 months to a year after that appearance at the club. So it was nice to be able to meet a legend.
Signed book. Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah. That's a prized possession in my life.
Well, let's talk about who you met, if you've ever met a comedian that you were starstruck by. Javi?
I only have one.
I never got to meet any comedians.
What? You never met anyone? Did you ever see anyone on stage where you were like, wow, this is the be-all, end-all. I can't believe I'm seeing this
I think
person.
we have
John
the same
Witherspoon.
one, baby.
John Witherspoon?
John Witherspoon.
Well, you got to see Pops?
I got to see
Maybe
Pops.
not.
Okay, so what was it about Pops that made you kind of pop?
No.
Just how he interacted with the crowd and his jokes were funny, but that night was kind of weird for me because I was on a date with this lady, and she just kept saying, "I don't get this humor. He's not funny." And I almost like,
who was this? I'm sorry, I was ignoring.
John Witherspoon.
John Witherspoon.
Okay.
It was like I almost
because the
funny.
first 30 minutes is just doing lines.
Love that guy.
Yeah, he's the best.
I thought he was hilarious, and I was like, I'm watching the dad from Friday.
Right.
Just be the dad from Friday.
Pops. He's Pops and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's not called Dad and Friday.
I was just saying,
watch Friday.
Dad from Friday.
Dude, we all
even watch Friday.
Pops.
Who's that? Who's that?
Pops was hilarious.
That's the dad for the TGI Friday show.
Who's that one black guy in Friday?
Oh yeah.
It was funny. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
So-
the Duffy guy.
So that really, like, that made you feel like the starstruck aspect of like, wow, I'm here, I'm watching this guy right now.
Yeah, that, and when I saw tits, that was also
Who? You saw her what?
her tits.
Okay, start over. Where were you in the improv?
It was like I was in the box office. I was leaving after my shift.
And she came by the window and went, hey!
No, I'm just saying. So I had to walk by the green room, and there she was. It's like,
And you saw
Oh,
her.
you walked by while she was changing, and you unsuspectingly saw her tits.
Yeah.
Were they
she
top
was
class?
so.
they were seriously tough.
That was where the complaint came from.
There was no complaint. Nice try. I would have heard about that.
No, I heard about it.
Yeah, I know some full of shit.
So, Will,
They probably would've.
who was the person that you got starstruck?
I don't feel like I get starstruck very easily. I
Oh,
know
good for
the
you.
best comic ever was Craig Robinson in my world. But the one that I actually did is Greg Proops.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? What was it about the Proops?
Man, I grew up with that guy. Like, I watched
British.
Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, before it
Comedy
was
Central.
ever Drew Carey involved.
Right.
And, yeah, him and Ryan Stiles and Colin Mockery were all still on that.
Right.
And, man, yeah, it was just when I saw him. And
My
when
favorite.
he spoke to me, and he's so much smarter than me, and I know it.
Yeah.
And it was just great.
But he was totally what you envisioned him
Exactly,
being. He's
yeah.
a total, like, 50s, like,
Yeah,
fucking
he's chill dude, yeah.
fucking hipster guy, like, and he talks like it.
And he could convince me to do anything. Because
you need to suck my dick, Will.
exactly,
You
and I would have sucked his
remember.
dick. So I'm outside and I'm smoking a cigarette,
And jerking him off.
and he walks out, and I'm like, "Fuck! I get to talk to him again."
Right. Oh, yeah.
And we're chatting, and he just pulls out this joint. I haven't smoked weed since I was 19 years old. And I'm like 35, 36 years old. And he just pulls out this thing and he lights it and he's smoking it and he's chatting with me and he just reaches over and my body just took it and I smoked it and he goes, "Hey man, be careful with that shit. That's that California weed." And I was like, "It's cool." And I took like 2 puffs and I handed it back. But the whole time my brain's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Because you're fucked up instantly,
And
right?
then the other side of my brain was like, "Hey, that's Greg Proops. Go fuck yourself. You get high with Greg Proops." Well, luckily the shows were over and it was time to go. And 15 to 25 seconds later, I'm still staring at him and he's speaking and I was like, "I gotta head home." And
The shift
and
was
it's-
over? Was the shift
the shift
even
was over, yeah.
Okay.
And it took me like 4 hours to get to my car. And then
There's somewhere.
95 more hours to drive home. I walked in. I remember my wife was on the couch, and she was like, "How was your night?" I was like, "Greg Proops asked me to smoke weed with him," and she was like, "Did you do it?" And I was like, "I'm going to bed." She was like, "Yeah, I would have done it too." Like,
Did you freak out after that, or did you just go?
no, I fell right to sleep, man, and then woke up, to go to work the next
That
day.
night, I was back at the house, and Jake shows up and he goes, "We got Greg Proops vodka." So we drank the fuck out of some Greg Proops vodka. He's like,
people bring him gifts.
Yeah. He's like, Greg Proops gave us vodka. I was like, we're going to drink the fuck out of that whole bottle. I think we finished that bottle that night, too.
Greg Proops
Yeah, we
is
did.
just the goddamn
It was
best
awesome.
brand.
It was dope.
How about you, Jake? Who's the person that starstruck you?
There's a couple, I guess. Craig Robinson was there, as Will mentioned.
And let's talk about Craig Robinson.
But
You're
fucking
starstruck.
goddamn Thomas Lennon showed
Thomas
up that
Oh,
same fucking
yeah.
night.
Yep.
Who's
That-
Motherfucking Thomas
The guy
Lennon
Dangle
dangled
from
from fucking
Reno
Reno
911.
911.
He wrote
The state. Fucking.
He wrote the Reno 911.
You ever
He's
seen
in
that
I Love You Man. Fucking.
He is amazing.
Oh,
He's one of the
he's
greatest
great and
writers,
everything, man.
comedy
He's
writers
hilarious.
of all
Yeah,
time.
Yeah, he's a genius.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Craig Robinson brought Thomas Lennon
Yeah, had.
on the Sunday show. And they fucking hung out and like drank with us
Yes.
after everything. And we talked.
Yeah.
And I touched him.
We got the BS, yeah. Dude, I got pictures of me and Thomas Lennon doing the fucking cook and chill
exactly.
on stage for
Oh,
fucking
yeah, I know who that is.
goddamn
Okay.
state, fucking Barry and LeVon.
God damn it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was one night.
And how about Craig Robinson? He would show up.
Craig
I wanna-
Robinson was fucking
I
awesome.
want to talk
Craig
about...
Robinson makes you feel like you're the coolest dude in the room.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I've never met him, but I've heard about him in the piano. And he got on the piano and he literally
That was
played...
on Super Bowl weekend.
And
The
he-
Wayans brothers were there that
Right.
weekend. And everybody was in town because the Super Bowl was at Arlington.
Right, and he got on the piano and started playing Purple Rain and stuff like that. And
Yep.
he literally brought people in from the street. He's like, "Go get those people out there."
Yeah.
And he brought everyone in.
Yep.
He created
there
a
for
party
that.
atmosphere.
Yep.
Like that's
Even after the
amazing.
pianos were gone, the last year that he was here, he was there. He just stayed every night,
Yeah.
and he plugged in his phone. And he played DJ.
Hey, we fucking
amazing.
smoked blunts.
Damn.
That was my second time that I saw him. And I also left about 10, 15 minutes after.
Was it the same thing when you went home
was
with
like,
your wife?
It's always somebody, isn't it? Bill Burr's there.
Did you go home? She's like, "How'd it go?"
No.
Craig
It was a
Robinson is
great
smoking.
pass.
I think that was like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. She was
Oh, it was
already asleep.
insane,
Yeah.
though, because we weren't gonna like let him just like if he wanted to leave, but if he wanted to stay, we're gonna
We're
fucking
staying.
stay.
Well,
yeah.
what we're talking about right now is good comedian stories. What are
Ralphie
other stories?
May several times
Please.
smoked with them, listening to music for hours on end.
Dude.
Like whenever Bruno Mars' "Locked Out of Heaven" first
Mm-hmm.
came out, we were talking about how much it sounded like a Police song. And it is pretty much the Police. If you
Right.
ever listen to the fucking Police, that's a goddamn Police song. Made me play that, rolled up joints, sat and talked about it, listened to fucking Jolene. Like, for hours on end, just BSing about fucking music.
That
Ralphie
dude.
was one of the fucking coolest people ever.
I love Ralphie. And one of my biggest regrets is because I left for that period of time and I missed him coming through. And everyone's got a Ralphie story if they met him. So you knew Ralphie pretty well. You got to hang out with
I
him.
mean, fairly well. I worked
Yeah.
with him at least once a year.
Yeah.
And, throughout the weekends. But that's what I just told you is pretty much the extent of it. That was probably my best experience with Ralphie was me and Shannon. Y'all know Shannon. Shannon Tram, I love you. Yeah, we'd be sitting back there. And, Billy Wayne Davis, also another feature comic. But yeah, I mean, we sat back there and just BS for. I can't even think of the conversations, but I just know that we touched on so many different bases and just had a really good existential,
Right.
I guess. Just talked about everything and nothing at the same time.
And that's the thing
us
that-
and shared things with each other. Like, have you heard this? Well, have you heard this? Like,
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Ralphie.
Yeah, dude.
Ralphie was
That
the
was
shit.
that was a big hit. Whenever he passed away, I was really bummed because I wanted to come see his show, and the fact that I'll never get to see him. And like, I feel like he was kind of like us, kind of like a kindred spirit. You know what I mean? Just a guy who was laid back and enjoyed other people and had a good time.
he
And I
was,
really wanted him to-
definitely down to earth person. He didn't let his reputation precede him or
Right.
his ego get the best of him.
And he partied too. That's the other thing I liked about him. The brightest stars burn out the quickest. It's a shame he's gone though. R.I.P. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, how about you, Will? Who was what's a good comedian story for you? What was the moment where you're just like, holy fuck, I'm hanging out with this person, I'm around this person.
Craig
This is
Robinson.
crazy. Craig Robinson.
There was one moment, I think you were there too. Again, it was another, I'm outside smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's a common
regular cigarettes, yeah. And Craig Robinson pulls up in their car, He steps out of the car. He locks eyes with both of us and goes, reaches his hand up and goes, Will! And this was like day 2 of Craig Robinson. And I was like, Craig Robinson just yelled my name.
Fuck yeah, dude. I had that moment.
Yeah, he makes you feel like the coolest dude.
I'm not even joking. Marlon Wayans jumped off the stage and goes, hey, Duck. Hey, Duck. And I was like, I'm like, boy, that voice sounds fucking familiar. Cool. What the hell is going on? He's like, hey, Duck. I was like, and he goes, you got a Sharpie? And I was like, Marlon Wayans knows my name. And I literally turned to the guest next to me and I said, Marlon Wayans knows my name. And I turned
fuck you!
I turned back to Marlon Wayans and I was like, no, I don't have one.
But I will find one.
There was a moment where I was just like, I need to shit a Sharpie. This is happening.
And meeting Dick Gregory. It was a quiet moment for me. He was done signing. I wanted to buy his book. He was happy to sign. He asked if I wanted a picture. I said, no, don't do that. But I mean, I'd be honored if he signed it. And he was just super cool. Yeah. And I wasn't starstruck, but I grew up on the movie Putney Swope, which he was the star of. My dad had a copy, and I watched it all the time. It was totally inappropriate for my age, but I just loved that guy.
Right.
And then I kind of followed. He didn't have a huge, career like a lot of others.
He was creating the path for other people to have that career,
exactly. And
he literally
meeting him alone was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, no, fuck every other comic.
How about you, Hobbs? Did you get a chance?
Dude, Front of the house, man.
Sits in the box.
I just sit in the box and I would leave half hour after the show starts. So I never really hung around.
Never got a chance to.
No.
For me, Godfrey.
Yeah,
Godfrey.
7-Up.
Godfrey is like when I was a kid. I remember seeing him
kinda.
on. I remember seeing him on Comedy Central Presents, and I just remember being blown away by him. And I literally was just like, when I met him, I was like, dude.
I'll go solidarity with you.
I literally said to him, I told him I was starstruck. Also, meeting was really big for me because
fuck you.
And this is not.
Fuck you.
I never bought into that.
Jesus Christ, that fake fucking bitch.
Listen, no,
I don't have that opinion, but yeah, she's a fake.
You can't have that fucking opinion.
No.
This is the thing about her.
She's
She's nice to her fans, though, and regardless.
I know she gives them what they want from her,
and
and I'll give her that.
They come back in droves.
But I don't buy into.
Here's the deal: she doesn't tip the wait staff. She doesn't tip the.
But you know who does? Cheryl Underwood.
Cheryl
Underwood
and Chingo fucking Bling.
Yeah, Chingo Bling's badass.
And they are 100% the person that they are, and that's what I love about them. Cheryl Underwood is so Cheryl Underwood. It's ridiculous.
She's wonderful.
I think I might have told all y'all this story, but whenever Jim Jeffries came through.
Let's hear about this.
So we had Billy D. Washington doing a sold-out show on a Saturday night, and it was the late show on a Saturday night. That same Saturday night, Jim Jeffries was in town at a different venue. The manager of the club was out watching Jim. He brought him back to our club. Billy D. Washington is getting ready to wrap up, and I had to hand him a note that said, hey, Jim Jeffries is here. He's going to do 20 minutes whenever you get off stage, or he's going to do time whenever you get off, so close it out and introduce Jim Jeffries. Well, this was the first, real sold-out show of the weekend, and it was also his last night, so it's like, dude, it was a real dick kick to me having to give him that note, because, he lost the applause, the adulation that he was going to get and everything else. He still got it. But, whenever you close out your own show, obviously, it's going to feel better.
Yeah, and you walk over and you talk to the people right after you did your shit.
Exactly. So that didn't happen that night. And he looked at the note and he's like, well, guess we have a guest here tonight. They're going to be coming up after I'm done playing the piano as he's about to close out. And Jim Jeffries gets up. He does about 20 minutes, and fucking people are going nuts. It's fucking insane. But at this point, it's already almost 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're having to pick up drinks, everything at this point. Everybody gets out. We stick around to hang out with Jim Jeffries and the horrors that he and my manager had brought at the time.
Excellent.
And my was here.
Just blurb out the scene. Just go.
So which part did you want me to bleep? Part of the.
No.
Blurb that out.
So every time we say to make
whenever I said my,
So if I say Jake, you have to sit there and edit that, right?
Right.
You have to bleep that every time I say Jake.
Way.
Jake. Jake.
This fucking
Go
guy
of yours.
was there also.
Don't cut it out. Just put bleeps.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Also on top of this,
Wait, who was there?
needless to say,
You know I'll edit.
some things are going down in there, okay? So we're all smoking cigarettes and fucking and shit in there. Doing fucking whatever. Jim Jeffries, everybody, we're all hanging out talking. And this goes on for like a couple of hours. But, you know, there's times where like a few of us will like, hey, I feel like smoking back and forth. And there was one opportunity where Jim Jeffries and I were sitting there, we're smoking. Lighting up a cigarette, and he's fucking smoking a cigarette. We're sitting in there fucking just BS, and he's like, right, like, hey, nice to meet you. And one of the whores that they brought came in there.
Do you have to bleep that?
No, sir.
So
What if the whore's
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, I've heard this story before. I know it's really good. I want to stop interrupting.
It's fine. It's fine. I hadn't heard it. They hadn't heard it.
I apologize for constant interrupts.
We're sitting there. The lady walks in. We're like trying to convince her to show us her fucking tits. She's like, "Well, I'll show you my tits. You show me y'all's."
Was she from Florida?
Yeah, she probably was. Like most whores are from Florida.
I agree.
Redneck Riviera.
Yeah, Florida woman.
Or New York.
Yeah, she was like, "Well, you know what? You show me your dicks, I'll show you my tits." Me and Jim Jeffries look at each other. We both have a cigarette in our hands, and we just kind of look at each other and nod. And I drop trout, he drops trout, and the lady's like, "I didn't expect y'all to do that."
And she got like super normal talking.
Yeah.
I honestly did not expect that from you, gentlemen.
Jim Jeffries looks over at me, and he's like, "That's a good-looking dick, mate." I was like, "Thanks, Jim Jeffries. Your dick is okay looking too." I guess.
So have you purchased a shirt that says that's a good looking dick, right?
Yeah. Well, he needs to fucking print them, bitches.
Done it.
And yeah, we finished out. We watched rugby at 5:00 in the morning inside the showroom with the screen.
Oh, yeah,
we
how
saw
was
our
the
fucking
horse
tits. Yeah, they were great. They're actually really good tits.
They weren't as good as but they were
Did
good.
you-
Well, you know, we were on a lot of.
Did you off the tits?
Nah, I wish we would have. That
Oh,
would have
dear
been
Lord.
better.
Yeah. What was that?
No, that's what.
I was like, why are you waving at me, like dismissing me from my own apartment? I was like, I guess I'll
You
leave.
can leave now, Doc.
Done with the bleeping.
All right. Okay. Does
Throw
anyone...
some bleeps out of here, son!
I have a feeling no one has a story that can rival that. Does
No,
anyone
that's-
have
yeah.
anything?
I knew it was going to come up, and I was glad that it did.
Oh yeah, it's a great fucking story. I put best comedian story. I think that won. What is your favorite live performance, though? What is the comedian that comes through that gives a performance where you're just like, this is going to tear down the motherfucking house. This is going to make
Tony
this
Roberts.
place. Tony?
I'll tell you right now, that is one of my favorite people.
I'd stand by
His
Tony
wife
Roberts,
is
too.
the shit. I love you, Carmel. But they're great people. But there's a couple more that I like also. You ever seen Rodney Perry? Rodney
Not
Perry
live,
is
but
fucking
yeah, I've
awesome. Bill Burr was
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
awesome.
That's
live.
that. You want to talk about starstruck? I couldn't even talk to him.
That
I
was
freaked
my
out.
okay. So my first show, whenever I started at improv, it was Bill Burr weekend. Second weekend was fucking Chris D'Elia. Third weekend was Bobby Lee. Like I mean, we had some fucking bangers.
Yeah.
And whenever Bill Burr did the black and white special on Netflix,
Right.
he was talking about the helicopter shit.
Yeah.
So he did the whole black and white
Right.
special pretty much.
I remember
you
seeing
were there
that.
that
I
night.
was.
Yeah.
I would say it was a weird schedule too. It was like
Yeah.
Wednesday
That's
through
pretty cool.
Friday or Wednesday through Saturday. And here's my story from that. The showroom is half full. It's Bill Burr, okay? And I'm like, why the fuck is it half full? It's a Wednesday night, okay?
Was this before he kind of broke it?
No, he had already broke. Bill Burr is Bill Burr. He is the sensation he is. Showroom is half full because it's a pretty quick thing that had happened. They put him on the schedule. So that night, he comes in, 2 kids sitting in the back of the third row. No one's in the third row. These kids are sitting there. And I walk up to the table and I say, hey, guys, how you doing? Do my server thing. And they go, hey, how you doing?
Hey, my name's Duck. Like quack quack.
I did the whole thing, right? So
I
I get in
remember.
there, and they look at me, and they go, hey, look, is it open mic night? And I'm like, no. They're like, well, this guy's really good. And we were trying to figure out if it was open mic night.
Wednesdays used to be open mic night.
And I look at him, I go, that's Bill Burr. He's one of the greatest comedians that have ever been. And I'm like, guys.
So he's only getting 4 minutes, right? Do I get my 4 minutes?
But I'm asking because I don't want to go behind him.
Where's the list?
But I try to imagine from their perspective. They were probably 18 or 19, literally being like, they got to see one of the greatest shows, because I'm probably going to get fired for saying this. But I didn't say anything to management at the time. I just said, let's let these kids watch this, because maybe this is the beginning. I
barely listen.
But my thought was, can you imagine being in their shoes, getting to come in, thinking it's open mic night, and getting to see one of the greatest comedians that's out there work?
Well, yeah.
Fucking awesome, right? Yeah. Well, especially if they didn't know who he was.
I hooked them up, and I'm going to get fired now. That's all I'm saying. This happened years ago.
This is open mic? I'm going to quit forever. I'm never, ever coming out.
My friends all tell me I'm funny.
Yeah. This guy.
They literally looked completely shocked. They were like, and they said, this is open mic night because this guy's really good. And I'm like, no, come on.
Yeah, this is actually open mic night extreme.
Yeah.
It's
only for the best.
Yeah.
Well, the first comedian I ever saw when I went to open mic night was Shucky Ducky. And I literally, when I walked in, he was.
Do you have a special? Do you have a special love for Shucky Ducky?
I do. Because he's the first comedian I ever saw on stage. Real true comedian.
Ducks.
And his name is Shucky Ducky, and my name is Ducky. I sat in the corner. I was scared to death to be in that showroom. And he gets on stage and he does his Samuel L. Jackson routine, which is probably like his ender, I think.
That's funny, yeah.
But like being there to want to see comedy, and the first comedian I ever saw, literally first person I ever saw walk on stage was a comedian, Shucky Ducky. I was blown away by that moment.
So
like live, you're saying?
Yes, he was at an open mic.
Mine was.
Yeah, how was that?
The first live show I ever watched.
Was that
the weekend before I started?
Yeah, I was gonna say it. He went to a fucking meltdown.
Yeah,
also, like you talk about speeding through a fucking set. This guy's like, next joke.
You could hear the fucking football game from the other room. I don't blame him now. I think it's funny. I enjoyed
It was
the
super
show.
funny. He was fucking hilarious, and I found it more funny that he was like speeding through. It was like, fuck this.
Well,
hey everyone, it's just Duck jumping in here real quick to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you're enjoying it, please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast. And if you're enjoying the podcast today, please share with your friends. It's the only way we can grow this network. With that said, back to the podcast.
What is your favorite live performance that you ever saw there?
Favorite?
Yeah.
There?
Yeah. Or a comedian you think brings the heat, really brings that, like we were saying about Bill Burr. That was amazing.
I would have just said Tony Roberts, man.
Yeah.
And I think Chingo. Like, I do find Chingo funny. What he does with the crowd is good.
How about you, Javi? Who was the
my
person?
favorite performer that I saw live was Donnell Rawlings.
Mm-hmm. Donnell.
buddy!
Shit.
Yeah.
Donnell was amazing.
He's coming soon.
My wife at the time, my wife is white. My ex-wife is white.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Autumn, come to the show. It's going to be great. It's Ashley Light from the Chappelle. She goes, okay. And we get table 53. And she's the only white lady in the row.
Right.
And she gets super nervous. And she's like, Jay, what if he starts talking about me? He's like, he's not going to talk. He's going to stay on stage. Motherfucker comes out into the crowd and starts heckling members of the audience.
Fuck
the
yeah.
white lady! This is the greatest thing ever. Bad bitches. Molly Aquafina. And I swear to God, like, my ex Autumn just fucking starts sweating. Just like sweating. She's going rushing. He's going to talk about me, Jay. He's going to talk about it. I was like, Autumn, just calm down.
Fuck yeah.
And then it's like doing the whole, broccolini album where it's like the beans, tomato, that whole song. But like a white version of it. And it's just like the greatest thing ever.
I love it when comedians request to have a mixed couple up front. That shit cracks me up. Because as they're walking to the front, you're just like, oh, you're fucked. Like, you're just like, you're fucked.
Whenever you tell a fucking table, like, oh, they don't like to fuck with people. And you sit them up front.
I love telling them that.
Like,
I lie to so many people. Yeah, this is he doesn't act. He doesn't mess with people too much. And I just fucking know that you, stupid hat lady, are fucked.
No, he's fine. He's not like that. No, like, just there's not a bad seat
I
in the
like
house.
to-
Like,
Yeah.
sit here. You're not going to be
it's
messed
fine.
with.
Another really good time was with you. Speaking of Donnell Rawlings, he got Jake tickets to go see Dave Chappelle.
Fuck.
Years ago.
Oh, my God.
And we were
dude.
like, "Oh, let's go!" And even the box office person was like, "Whoa, y'all got good seats."
Like, I was expecting Will call,
Yeah.
like, this place set at, like, fucking 8,000.
We were
okay?
right there.
There are fans that are there that are the size of this entire apartment.
Yeah,
Like, it's insane.
Nuts.
We had to book up our fucking cell phones and
Yeah.
these little fucking baggies and shit.
Locker baggies.
Okay, so Dave Chappelle, this is whatever he's filmed the second special for the Netflix. This is the
Netflix,
same
yeah.
one that he fucking did that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same material, but he was doing the second one at this time. He could have leaned over and sweat on
Yeah.
us.
Like,
Like,
it
it was
was
so
That's
fucking
insane.
close. And I was like, thank you. I love you, Donnell.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Now, whether that was the best, like a great show or not, I can't even remember. It was just I was like right there next to him.
Great fucking night. Yeah, he put his fucking leg up on the
Yeah,
speaker
it's like I see a dick print.
Dave Chappelle,
I love it.
it's right there.
Look, I'm gonna take a selfie. Me and the dick print.
They kicked us out. They're like, why ain't your phone in the bag?
But Donnell, that's fucking awesome. Did y'all see his Joe Rogan this week that he released? It was fucking
Yes,
amazing.
him
I
and
watched
Donnell and yeah,
That
yeah.
looks good.
I did watch
was
that one.
really
That was
good.
actually really fun.
And that's the thing is,
They paid tribute to Charlie
Right.
on there. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did like a 20-minute tribute to Charlie
Yeah.
Murphy.
yeah, totally. And
Really good.
I got to meet Charlie Murphy, about a year before he passed away too, and that for me was really awesome because I had a moment. And it's a really weird moment where I passed the green room and Charlie Murphy stopped me and he goes, "Hey, what's the bad part of town?" And I was like, "Why the fuck does Charlie Murphy want to know what the bad part of town is?" And I'm like, "Does Charlie Murphy want to go to the bad part of town?" Like, Charlie Murphy doesn't need to be in the bad part. I'm getting worried about Charlie Murphy. I was like, "You don't need to go there, Charlie Murphy."
Go to Stop 6, Charlie.
But I found out later that's exactly what it is to set up for the jokes, and in DFW, Oak Cliff is the bad part of town. So I told him that, and of course he used it in the jokes later. I didn't know that
And
that
they
was a
love
thing.
it. They love that shit.
Yeah, he was-
Anything local,
Yeah,
people love
they're
it.
like, oh, he's been there. Oh, that's where I go.
But literally I had to answer him and be like, Oak Cliff, I guess, Charlie Murphy. And I was just like, Charlie Murphy, why do you want to go to Oak Cliff? I didn't say.
Mansfield?
My
That's
other
a pretty bad area.
My other favorite moment was passing the green room and Pops is in there.
Was Jake?
I was like, "Can you hook me up?" So Pops is in the green room, and I just hear him talking like Pops. He's like, "Yeah, bang, bang, bang," and then I walk in, and he's watching like football cheerleaders. He goes, "Oh man, they didn't make him like that back in the day." Bang, bang. And I was like, I'm so happy. Pops is Pops all the time.
Yeah.
Like it made me
I
happy.
had that moment too. He was walking out before the shows had started. He got there early for some reason, and he's walking down our hallways just singing fucking Silver Bells. Silver Bells, bang, bang. It's like, oh, wow.
And dude, the best thing was the next day he came in, he remembered my name.
Yeah, he's
And
good at that.
he's very like he writes it down. He doesn't have to do that.
John
he doesn't have to remember
Witherspoon
my name.
is the shit.
He's
he was one of the
amazing.
best people that I've ever got the chance
He's
to
amazing,
work with,
dude.
honestly.
People-
Like, I love the guy.
Comedians who go out of their way to appreciate the little person, which in the big pond or the little pond, I'm a little person. You know what I mean? They're the big person. It's nice to know that they actually care and they go out of their way to say, "I remember you and you're important." That's amazing. It's huge.
It really is. Well, it humanizes them. You
Absolutely.
know? Like, they have so many followers and people that idolize them. Like, they're going to attract the people that think like them to their shows.
Plus, it doesn't help that we work with a lot of people who are not at all like that.
Right.
And it's very easy to, forget that, when someone does do that, it really means more. Because it's
Right.
like, wow, I just worked with 4 comics, and not one of them would, hey, big man, that's...
Well, but you're exactly right, though. It makes it all worthwhile
Yeah.
whenever they actually treat you like a person that they know.
Yeah.
Like, we're co-workers at the end of it. Honestly, that's all it is. Like, we're co-workers for the weekend, and that's the way that I always treat it. You take care of the comics first, and then everything else will follow.
And
They're going to take care of the staff if they're taken care of, and the staff takes care of the crowd. They're going to fucking deal with the crowd because, like, you being fucking assholes, because I know the staff is working their fucking asses off for you.
Right. And the other thing is, too, there are comedians who have bad days, and that's understandable. We all have bad days.
Tell you what, Eric Andre
Yeah.
fucking came through at the Arlington Improv. That shit was fucking cool because it was the night that his show premiered on Adult Swim.
Oh, nice.
So he's sitting in the green room. So they got a coffee table like this, fucking 5 feet by 2 feet, whatever. He moves it out of the way. He sits on the floor, Indian style, looking up at the TV, watching his fucking 15 minutes on fucking Adult Swim. And I'm like, hey, you gotta go up. I earlier in the day went to the music store to get a sheet stand for notes, for like music notes, like. If you're sitting down playing violin, you're looking at the fucking music. It was on stage for no reason. He just used it as like a prop. I
just need to knock it over.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was fucking cool shit because it was before we know Eric Andre as we know it. Like, I was just like, oh, we got Eric Andre here. And he's like, hey, I'm watching my special on Cartoon Network, so you just let me know whenever let's go on. It's like, yeah, man, you're up. Cool as shit, though.
That's
like,
insane.
There's just weird little things like that.
Right.
Like, there's certain people...
Human moments. You forget that they're humans. And that's the thing is, the biggest thing from working there is I always view people as the stars, the people in the movies, the comedians. But being able to see them as people now, it changes it completely because I realize all that moment might be on stage and that's it. And off stage may not be that person. A big example of that is Tommy Davidson. He literally had to sneak cigarettes from his wife. He literally... came out of the bathroom one day. He's like, hey, man, you got a cigarette? I was like, I'm a heavy smoker. Fuck yeah. And I hand him a cigarette, and he puts it in his sock. He's like, don't tell my wife. That is a moment that you very, very rarely get to have.
And
I just doubted him.
announce it to his wife.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Still never listen.
So bleep out Tommy Davidson.
Oh, even worse. Even worse.
Bleep out everything except Tommy.
Tommy
That's like
Even worse. Oh, wait, let me take the shot before I tell this story, because I had a moment with Tommy Davidson's wife.
Uh-oh. She thick with it?
No.
She
Tommy Davidson's wife is a very voluptuous white woman with blonde hair. And Tommy is a very nice person. And I just happened to be talking to his wife in the back, and she was ordering food. And I had like a Freudian slip, because the whole time I'm looking at him, just like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Shit. And I don't remember what my Freudian slip was. She wanted the spinach dip, and I'm like, spinach dick? You want the spinach dick? Is that what you want? You want the dick? And I was just like, I'm like,
you just kept going with it? You want a dick? You want my dick? You want my dick in your butt? You want a dick butt? You want a dick butt? I'll call you dick butt.
I literally was just like,
I'm cocktail.
But I didn't mean to, and I didn't mean out of disrespect. I'm
Can
just
we
like,
get this skinny little black guy out of here? So I can take it down? I'll take it down. I'll take it down. Duck, take it down, down.
White devil.
But I was just a moment. I didn't mean anything by it. And I literally had to stop because it was so embarrassing. I was like, I'm sorry, Tommy Davidson's wife. Am I getting fired for that one?
Oh.
Should I cut that out too?
Why would you get fired for that? That's
But what I was saying before is, you think because you see in like the media or in the news and they say terrible things about people that's that person. They're just having a bad night. Most comedians who come through are pretty good, and they're nice people, and they have moments. But I'm gonna say I can only think of maybe 2 comedians where I had a bad interaction with them, and that's
like
it.
proper bad.
Yeah. Like I was just like, wow, you are not the person I thought you would be. We're not going to talk about those. What we're talking about is the positivity.
I can only think, maybe about 2. Most of the are just no experience or no, nothing.
Right.
Like they're in, they're out. A good example. He's on stage, he's off stage, he's gone.
It's a job.
Yeah, and it's a job, and that's fine. That's not bad. That's just his
However,
thing.
it's mind-boggling to me how many people that we've worked with that we don't think like on that level, but like they're on that fucking level.
And you gotta
like,
remember,
real.
like, if you
just a
put
job.
yourself in their
It's a job.
shoes, it's like, God, every
just
weekend
a
you
job.
have to meet a whole group of new people, and you have to go up and
So
do your
the
thing.
ones that come back and remember you.
That's the big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking deal.
So are you guys excited about anyone in the future who you haven't seen or met before coming to the
Sklar Brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to go to Jake's place.
Come out, Sklar Brothers. I've been watching them since before I was like 12.
Yeah.
Like they had the 30-minute Comedy Central special. They've been on 3rd season, 2nd season of Always Sunny as the DJs and the fucking dance off.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I want to
You're on
come
the
see
oblong?
They're just
Jake's,
they're so fucking good.
Farley.
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin Farley. God, his name just left my brain. Kevin Farley.
Motherfucking,
I know Hyenas gets fucking Brian
my
Posehn, too.
calculus.
Brian Posehn is
Yeah,
on
we
my
actually
fucking
have
bucket
a
list.
bartender right next door that looks just
I
like Brian
remember.
Posehn.
I
You
remember
got
I
one that
saw-
looks like fucking House also. It's crazy. Come over there. We got House and Brian Posehn next to
Oh, you have anyone you're excited about seeing in the future?
The Sklar Brothers.
Yeah?
Because
The Sklar!
I'm getting tickets.
Told you,
Yeah.
Bubba.
All right, cool. Other than that, any other stories you guys want to share that I can put in this?
Clayton English, I remember he offered me a drink. Because, oh, no thanks, man. I just walked on by not knowing that he was the main feature for that night. Like, he was like dancing. I was like watching
feature.
I guess I was watching
See, now he's on a podcast talking about, I really don't like when people just don't know who I am. They're not. I like when people remember my name. and they're like,
motherfuckers, I'm Clayton English.
because he was just like drinking up by the entrance right outside the kitchen. Like,
Which is sad
Yeah,
because
and
and
everybody
he
should
was like,
remember
yo, you
Clayton.
want to sit
Clayton's
with me? Oh, no,
awesome.
thanks,
awesome.
man. I'm
He's
good. And I just walked right by, but I don't even know who he was.
He's not listening.
So,
Like, honestly.
real quick, if you were to say to anyone who's looking to get into comedy, having been in the comedy club and having
Just
seen
don't.
what it is,
Yeah, we got enough.
What
Fuck you. I can't even name it.
There's not enough work.
but here's the thing.
Yeah, you're not
That's
gonna get off.
good advice, though, to say to people, if you really are not going to dedicate yourself to it, don't go for it.
Yeah, if you're not, if you're, because like
don't
I get comedians, I'm sure you do too, where they're like, man, you need to get on stage, and it's like I don't have that commitment.
Yeah.
Right.
If I get on stage, it's going to be a one-off. I'm going to fail, and I'm never going to go back.
So
but
what's
what you need to do is get up there and fail 50 fucking times,
Right.
and then get one good one, live off that for the rest of your life.
That's really good advice.
Yep.
That's
All
really
shit.
good advice.
For real?
Yeah.
The main bit of advice that I give to most open micers is stay away from hot topics. I've talked about this several times. I'm sure everybody's heard ad
We
nauseum.
all know the Trump joke.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
We all know,
Right?
yeah.
Just stay away from Trump.
We get it. You're
No.
edgy. Like,
Stay away from hot topics, man. If you talk about real life experiences, try storytelling comedy first, because that's why you're funny to everybody. That's why you're trying this. Everybody's telling you that you're funny because you're retelling experiences or something else. Or,
yeah, you're not trying to tell jokes in real life.
right. Like, you're being you. That's funny.
I agree with you.
Like, so, any hot topic that comes out,
Unless you're Hot Topic, then you
Right.
can talk about it.
Do it. The biggest advice I could give is work clean. And I know that sounds weird, but if you work
Yeah,
clean,
if you have 10 clean minutes,
you
more
are
work.
golden. You are going to work like crazy because your job is not to be the headliner when you begin. If you want to be kick ass and you want to do that, that's fine. But you're going to take another path that is way more difficult. Work clean. Create
Sure, yeah.
10 minutes that actually get the crowd involved. Get the crowd involved and bring that. Don't work blue. Do not work blue. Whatever you do, do not work blue. Work as clean as possible because you're going to get so much work from that. And be able to work the crowd in the sense that you get them pumped. Because the first half a minute of any show is the most important. Because if you can go out and that crowd immediately goes, I'm on this guy's side. Whatever you have to do to say that, to change it or get them on your side, means everything.
I have
Because
one piece of advice for any open micer. Nobody cares how the crowd's doing. Stop asking that.
right.
that's true too.
How's everybody doing that?
10 sets. Don't waste 25 seconds
Yeah.
saying the exact same thing
Right.
every other comic says.
I'm going
But-
to do 3 minutes of material, get no laughs, and then ask how everybody's doing tonight. No.
Get them on your
Clearly
side.
they're not doing okay.
Get
You
them
already
on
know
your
the
side
answer to this fucking
immediately.
question.
Get them on your side immediately. If you can find a way to do that, whatever it is, you make that room be on your side, and it's not going to happen every time.
Hey
But if
guys,
you
I'm
can do
Will. Who here's into pedophilia? It's just me? Oh my god, I'm
Class right out the fucking bat, though. As
you'll
soon
be
as
able-
you said
That
that,
might have
you fucking
worked.
lit up. I'm
You'll be
just
able to
saying.
tell.
All right.
Like,
it. Oh, the last one I want to talk about. What is the best walkout you've ever seen? The best walkout of the show.
Customer
with me.
walkout?
Yes, best customer walkout, heckle, whatever it is. What is the best you've ever seen?
not heckler walkout. I've dealt with a handful of hecklers, but I will say J.J. Williamson, he does Tila. It's a song by Shonug and whatever. You know, it's got the bass on. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. There you go, see?
So what happens?
So,
Wait, do it again one more time right now. Jake's Coke Dealer.
So back to the J.J. Williams.
J.J. Williamson closed out with that fucking song. Like, he played, like, music cues are really fucking bad. Like, unless you're a headliner.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't mind doing
You don't
music
deserve
cues.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's lazy if you're not the headliner.
Right.
Fucking was at the fucking show last night. I fucking hate and I know you know motherfucker showed up for a guest spot on this fucking show.
And he wanted all
was
his
supposed to do
cues?
5 minutes. He didn't talk to me on musical cues or anything. I just hit the fucking music, walked away, fucking hit stop. He's like, oh, play it back. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You got a 5-minute guest spot. Ran his fucking light, did 12 fucking minutes. Oh my god, I fucking hate you. Fucking listening. Fuck you. You're one of the worst fucking comics ever. You
I'll stand by
fucking
that,
piece of
too.
shit. Fuck you, you disrespectful motherfucker. Anyways.
There's a lot of beeps in that rant right there. So what was the best heckle you ever saw?
Is that what the topic was?
Yes.
I thought it was the walkout.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about
Best heckle, best walkout.
Oh.
JJ Williams.
No, I forget the Lavelle Crawford ones, but he's walked a couple people.
Was
I
that?
don't have any extreme stories.
No.
I mean, we kick people out, but
I do 2 times. Same thing. It's white trash women on crutches. Where they literally...
I remember the crutches
Yes,
lady.
Greg Proops, not even joking, it was a Greg
It
Proops
was.
show. She's sitting right in the front. She's arguing with Greg Proops. Greg Proops is like, listen, I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
I'm quicker than you, and I'm going to win. But I want you to enjoy the show. She's going, you need to start doing the funny shit already. I'm sick of this. And Jake had to go up and
walked her
ask
out that night.
and
That's
she's
whenever we're living at
crutching
the same
out.
house.
She's
Yeah.
crutching out, going, you ain't funny. This ain't
Oh, and honestly, that was the funniest part of his show because
Yeah.
he fucking nailed her
Oh,
just to the wall.
destroyed her. And to the point where she was fucked up on medication and alcohol and had to leave. It was ridiculous.
Ew.
The other time, same thing happened. Robert Powell's show. Fucking woman in the front row. He starts talking about domestic abuse because he's Robert Powell and he'll talk about whatever the fucking was talk about. She's sitting there with her crutches and her foot up. She goes, that ain't funny. And he goes, why ain't that funny? She goes, you know, people get smacked around once in a while. He goes, well, evidently it happened to you. and this fucking bitch, fuck you, Robert Powell. She's on her crutching out. He's like, here she goes. Fuck it, I don't care. I'm just like, it's always white trash women on crutches who always try to heckle. And it's like, don't do it, white trash women. It's
Hey,
not worth it.
everybody, I broke my arm.
Because they're fucked up on, Ambien or whatever else. It's fucking crazy. I just don't get it. Like, don't heckle. You're not going to win. And if you win, you still
There
don't
was
win.
one night, Earthquake was there. I think it was
Amazing.
the first
Amazing.
night that he was there for the weekend. This is like the 3rd or 4th time that I've worked with him there. Thursday night, there's this fucking drunk guy sitting on the booth. And he's talking shit, and I go by and tell him like 3 or 4 times, like, hey,
Come on, man.
just keep it down.
Keep it down.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't want to kick you out. I want you to have a good time. Please, your old lady's here. She's enjoying the show and everything else. His girlfriend gets up and goes to the restroom. He starts yelling out, yeah! Like, whatever. Earthquake has to take time out of his set, which people don't realize. Whenever people heckle, this is
You're
not...
thrown off the flow.
This is not expected. You
Yeah.
have a set time in your head. You're hitting all these beats. You make times for applause breaks.
Years
Yes,
mastering it.
perfecting this fucking shit. So this guy's like starts yelling out, it's like, my old lady's gone. I'm gonna be like, fuck yeah! So I come over and I fucking talk to him, and he's like, hey, yeah, I'm trying to watch the show. You know, like, oh, I'm trying to fucking tell him to be quiet. It's like, yeah, be quiet, I'm watching the show. So he reaches across the table for me. He swings
I
at
remember
me.
this.
Holy
Grabbed his
fuck.
fucking
Grabbed him
hand,
and
pulled him
Pulled him
across,
the table.
Yeah, he fucking
Holy
the
great
table
shit.
fell over. He got up and ran away. He ran out of the long
What?
hallway.
It was so good.
Drunken running away.
So good.
He fucking ran away. Drunk as fuck. I'm walking behind him like fucking Jason.
Terminator style,
Yeah,
yeah.
seriously. For Friday the 13th, like just slowly fucking walking behind him. The guy hits his head on the fucking wall on the way out. Runs out the fucking front doors. And I just kind of slowly walk behind him, and the cops already fucking got him at that point. Not like this guy is gonna be trouble.
Wait. Will, you had one of those recently where you had somebody.
The old guy who punched me in the face.
What? The Canadian.
He wasn't in the showroom though.
No.
Say sorry.
They had watched the show. They're
They already
sitting
saw
at the bar.
show. Yeah, they were sticking around. They were super drunk. It was an old guy and his old wife, and they stood right at the entrance where the kitchen is, and it enters into the showroom. And he just kept talking louder and louder. And he went there because he saw the comic go there to go in. And eventually the comic went in, and I was like, just calm down. There's a show. He's like, I mean, your guys' speakers suck. Like, that's your fault. And you guys are the worst. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. We suck. It's like, come on, let's go. And I touched his shoulder. And he goes, and who was the comic? Do you remember?
I don't remember
Whoever it was, he had two fucking bodyguards who were both MMA dudes.
Yeah.
And they were right behind me. And this old guy, he's like, you know what? And he just swung at me. And he hit me. And I said, what the fuck? And then I grabbed his neck. And the MMA guy, like, right as I grabbed his neck, just jumped him. And, like, brought him down and was on top of him. And the guy was like, you're trying to give him your dick. And, like, and he started yelling at me. He's like, you're an asshole. And everyone who works for you knows you're an asshole. And, like, our door guy, I was like, get her out of here. And he touches her shoulder, and she's like, he's trying to take my clothes off. And I was like, oh my God. And some girl server came up and gets her out, and then he gets up, and, like, we push him out the fucking door. Cops are there, and they're like, do you want to press charges? I was like, no, he's stupid and old. Canadian.
He's too old!
It was the weakest punch, but it was solid. Like,
Wedding singer.
Yeah,
Did you just hit me?
yeah, it's exact. I was like, what the fuck?
Fucking
I was
amazing,
like,
dude.
so
Oh, no,
confused.
you fucking...
I had a guy in the back of the showroom one time. I was trying to get his payment, and the guy was agitated with me. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out why he was mad. But every time he came by, he was like, "Fuck you." I'm like, dude, I just gotta get you 2 items. So I kept coming back by, and finally he kept escalating to the point where I just walk by and go, "Hey, do you need anything?" And he just point and yell at me. And I didn't know I was in trouble until the comedian's bodyguard was like, pat me on the shoulder going, "You okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I go back to the table and come back and he goes, "Are you all right?" Well, this guy evidently was like, when I wasn't there, was talking about taking me out the whole time.
Oh, Jesus.
It was fucking weird. And finally I got the payment. You were there that night because the bodyguard and you were there, and it was the guy in the very
Was
back.
it a Bill Bellamy show?
Yes.
that-
Yeah. It my back.
Yeah.
He's
Big
huge.
E.
He's huge.
Yeah, Big E is
That's the
scary
last
as fuck.
story I want to talk about. The time that me and Jake were out back smoking a cigarette, and I'm not even. No, it's fine. I'll edit it down.
I remember this.
We were out back smoking a cigarette, and Bill Ballard
Video shit.
was that, and Bill Ballamy's bodyguard comes out,
Bill
and
Bellamy.
he looks at Jake.
Bill Bellamy. Coming down the hall.
Bell Bellamy. Little Bell Bellamy. Buster's Run.
Black Panther.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the We Are Podcast.
We just fucking killed it.
All right, no, real quick. Bill Ballamy's bodyguard in the back. No, you're gonna love this. He looks at Jake, and without saying it, he just looks at him and he goes, "Hey man, give me money."
You got some money for me?
Yeah, and we're just like, "What the fuck?" And Jake, Jake just goes, "Nah, man, you gotta talk to this person." And the second he leaves, Jake pulls out his wallet. It's like, it was terrifying.
Brad Bigamy did that to you.
Well, y'all, I appreciate you having this conversation with me. Thank you so much. This has been Duck. I've been here with
Jake.
and and our very special guest.
William.
And thank you so much. Have a good week.
Bill.
And there it is. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you have enjoyed it, please do not forget, share with your friends. That is how we grow the network. And if this is your first time listening, head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, you're going to love the other podcasts here on the We Are Podcast Network. We have We Are Bagu, a video game podcast featuring me and Dr. Ethan Eastwood. That's where we talk Atari to Steam and everything in between. Don't forget Heroes Gyros, a Dungeons and Distraction side quest. Me and the boys were sitting down, we're playing some D&D, we're having so much fun. You can go and start that from the beginning of the journey, Season 1, Episode 1. You're going to love it all the way through. And finally, I Hate Being Sober. Personal stories from epic people. I'm going to sit down with some of the most epic people I've ever met in this world, and we're going to talk about their life, we're going to talk about their trials and tribulations, and we're just going to talk about their journey this far. Head on over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /WeArePodcast. Also, head over to the Facebook group, We Are Era. We would love to see you in that group. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed the podcast today, share it with your friends. That's the only way we can grow this network. With that said, do not forget, support local comedy in any way that you can. We really do appreciate it. We'll see you next time.